There's a doorway carved into the side of an Egyptian temple, one that looks just like all the others, except for a single, almost imperceptible detail. What if that small difference isn't a mistake but a clue? Ancient builders didn't just create structures, they wove secrets into the very stones. Some passages led to treasure chambers. Others, they say, open to places beyond our world, across continents and cultures, from the shadowy tunnels beneath Mayan pyramids to the labyrinthine halls of medieval castles. Architects left behind more than just ruins, they left puzzles. Why would civilizations go to such lengths to hide these passages? And what might still lie undiscovered behind those walls? The answers could rewrite what we think we know about history. This isn't just about stone and mortar. It's about unlocking the untold stories buried in plain sight. So let's step through the threshold and follow the trail of clues left by the ancients. By the time we're done, you'll never look at an old wall or archway the same way again. Ancient civilizations didn't just build doorways for practical use, they infused them with profound meaning. Step through one of these portals and you weren't merely entering a room or temple. You were crossing into a sacred space, a boundary between the ordinary and the extraordinary. The ancient Egyptians, for instance, saw these thresholds as more than physical barriers. Their beliefs, recorded in texts like the Book of the Dead, described doorways as passages for the soul, guiding the departed safely into the afterlife. Carvings and inscriptions around these openings weren't just decoration, they were divine instructions, spells even, meant to protect and guide those who passed through. Now shift your gaze to the temples of India. Here, doorways are masterpieces of symbolism, each intricate carving a step toward enlightenment. Hindu architects designed them as metaphors. Ascending through the gateway represented shedding earthly desires and moving closer to the gods. The symmetry, the alignment, even the materials chosen weren't random. They echoed cosmic order, mirroring the universe itself. And let's not forget the Norse with their shimmering Bifrost bridge. This radiant pathway wasn't just a mythic rainbow. It was a carefully guarded portal linking the realm of humans to the home of the gods. What's fascinating is how these cultures, separated by oceans and centuries, shared a common thread. Whether it was the solstice sunlight piercing an Egyptian temple's inner sanctum or the alignment of Mayan pyramids with celestial events, these portals were meticulously placed, acting as meeting points between heaven and earth. The stones themselves seem to whisper secrets if only we know how to listen. Deep within the Great Pyramid of Giza, shadows cling to corridors that have puzzled explorers for centuries. This isn't just a tomb, it's a riddle carved in stone. Modern scans reveal something startling: vast, unexplored voids hidden behind the pyramid's iconic walls. Why would builders go to such lengths to conceal these spaces? Some experts believe these chambers weren't meant for the living or even the dead, but for something far more extraordinary. Take the king's chamber with its towering granite sarcophagus. Unlike typical burial sites, this room hums with acoustic precision. Its dimensions resonate at frequencies some claim mimic Earth's natural vibrations. Then there's the Queen's chamber, its air shafts mysteriously aligned with celestial bodies. Were these passageways designed to guide spirits skyward, or could they serve as conduits for energies we're only beginning to understand? Theories abound. Engineers point out the pyramid's near-perfect alignment with true north, a feat requiring knowledge that seems impossibly advanced for its time. Astronomers note how its shafts pinpoint stars from over 4,000 years ago. And then there are the whispered legends of secret doors opening to other realms, of pharaohs ascending not to the afterlife but to the cosmos itself. With each new scan, each fresh discovery, we peel back another layer of this ancient enigma. What waits in those dark, uncharted spaces? The answer might not just rewrite history, it could redefine reality. High in the thin air of the Bolivian Andes, where the sky feels close enough to touch, stands a stone portal that defies explanation. The Gate of the Sun at Tuanaku isn't just another ancient relic, it's a masterpiece of precision, carved from a single block of andesite weighing over 10 tons. At first glance, the intricate carvings might seem like mere decoration, but look closer. The central figure, often called the Sun God, is surrounded by intricate celestial patterns. Some say they map the movements of stars, others whisper their instructions for something far more extraordinary. What's undeniable is the gate's uncanny alignment. During the winter solstice, the rising sun strikes the doorway in a way that illuminates specific carvings, as if lighting a path across the stone. Was this a calendar tracking the heavens or a marker for something beyond our understanding? Local Aymara elders passed down stories of a golden age when beings of immense wisdom, referred to as viracochas, stepped through this very gate, bringing knowledge that transformed their world. Modern researchers are still piecing together the puzzle. The gate's orientation doesn't just match solstices, it syncs with constellations visible thousands of years ago, suggesting the builders possessed astronomical knowledge rivaling today's telescopes. Yet, the biggest mystery remains. How did they carve and transport such a massive stone block at nearly 13,000 feet above sea level, with no evidence of wheels or draft animals? Whether a sacred calendar, a cosmic doorway, or a meeting point between worlds, the Gate of the Sun stands as a silent challenge to our assumptions about the past. Every chip in its weathered surface seems to ask, were the ancients merely honoring the sky, or were they trying to reach it? Beneath the windswept plains of Turkey's Cappadocia region, the earth holds secrets far stranger than its famous fairy chimneys. Descend just a few meters and you'll find yourself in Derinkuyu, an underground city so vast it could shelter 20,000 people. But here's the thing, these aren't just tunnels. They're a carefully engineered maze of staircases, stables, chapels, and most intriguing of all, sealed doorways that lead nowhere. Or do they? Early Christians carved these labyrinths as hideouts from invaders, yet some features defy practical explanation. Take the massive stone wheels, each weighing over half a ton, designed to roll shut and lock entire corridors from the inside. Why such elaborate defenses? And why the strange symbols etched into certain chambers, patterns that echo celestial maps and sacred geometry? Then there's the mystery of the unopened passages. Ground-penetrating radar reveals networks stretching farther than anyone's explored, some dropping hundreds of feet deeper. Legends whisper of a subterranean highway linking multiple cities, perhaps even reaching the Mediterranean. But what's truly baffling are the acoustics. Certain tunnels amplify whispers into echoes that linger unnaturally long, as if the walls themselves were designed to carry voices or something else. Could these tunnels have been more than refuge? Some researchers point to records of Byzantine mystics performing rituals in hidden caves, seeking visions of the divine. Others wonder if the sealed doors guard relics of an even older civilization, one that mastered tunneling long before the Christians arrived. And then there's the wilder theory that the labyrinth's deepest layers align with energy lines, turning the entire complex into a sort of spiritual antenna. One thing's certain, standing in those cool, dim passages, you can't shake the feeling that the builders knew something we don't. Whether sanctuary, temple, or gateway, Derinkuyu refuses to give up its secrets. Every unopened door is a question mark in stone, daring us to look deeper. High on the slopes of Mount Parnassus, where the air hums with a strange energy, lies a place where mortals once spoke with gods. The Temple of Apollo at Delphi wasn't just a shrine, it was a crossroads between worlds, home to the most powerful oracle in ancient history. Pilgrims journeyed for weeks, desperate for a glimpse of the Pythia, the priestess who channeled divine prophecies from a chamber deep beneath the temple. But this was no ordinary room. Ancient accounts describe a gaping fissure in the earth, exhaling vapors that curled like spectral fingers. The Pythia would perch above this rift, inhaling the fumes before slipping into a trance so deep, her words seemed to come from another realm. Scholars once dismissed these stories as myth until geologists discovered something startling. Delphi sits atop intersecting fault lines where underground gases, including ethylene, still seep to the surface. Ethylene, it turns out, can induce euphoria and altered states. Coincidence or proof that the ancients understood far more about the land's hidden forces than we realized? The real genius, though, lay in the chamber's design. The Aditon, the Oracle's sanctum, was a masterclass in atmospheric manipulation. Its sunken floor pooled the vapors, while bronze tripods and sacred laurel leaves may have amplified their effects. Even the temple's orientation played a role, with its narrow entrance funneling whispers into eerie echoes. Every element conspired to create an experience so visceral, even skeptical rulers like Alexander the Great left convinced. Yet the greatest mystery isn't how the oracle worked, it's why her prophecies, often maddeningly vague, proved so uncannily accurate. When Croesus asked if he should invade Persia, she replied, "If you cross the river, a great empire will fall." He did, and it was his own. Some say the Pythia's gift was divine. Others argue the chamber's ambience unlocked latent intuition, sharpening her interpretations of symbols and omens. But perhaps the truth lies in between, a sacred space where geology, architecture, and human psychology intertwined, turning whispers into history. Delphi reminds us that portals aren't always physical. Sometimes the most powerful doorways are those that open inward, revealing not hidden chambers, but the untapped depths of the mind itself. Lost in the dense jungles of Cambodia, Angkor Wat rises like a mirage of stone, its towers piercing the sky, its walls whispering of secrets buried for centuries. This sprawling temple complex, built in the 12th century, isn't just a monument to faith. It's a labyrinth of hidden corridors and symbolic gateways, each designed to mirror the Hindu cosmos. Walk its galleries and you'll notice something unsettling. Some doorways lead to dead ends, while others narrow mysteriously, as if taunting visitors with paths just out of reach. The most intriguing features are the carvings flanking these passages, mythical creatures like the Naga serpents and Garuda eagles, their eyes seemingly following you. These weren't mere decorations. In Hindu tradition, they served as guardians, warding off the unworthy from sacred spaces. Local legends speak of priests vanishing into shadowy alcoves to perform rituals away from prying eyes, their chants muffled by the thick stone. Modern technology reveals even more puzzles. LiDAR scans show networks of undocumented tunnels snaking beneath the temple's foundations, some sealed off with precision-cut blocks. What's hidden there? Scholars debate whether these passages stored sacred texts, funneled ritual waters, or even acted as symbolic portals to the underworld. One theory suggests the entire complex was designed as a giant mandala, with hidden routes representing spiritual journeys toward enlightenment. Yet the greatest enigma lies in the temple's alignment. During equinoxes, sunlight strikes specific carvings in a way that casts elongated shadows pointing toward concealed chambers. Was this intentional? A guide for initiates or a map to something deeper? The stones offer no easy answers, only silent invitations to look closer. Angkor Wat doesn't just defy time, it challenges us to question whether its true purpose was ever meant to be fully understood. Tucked away in the very heart of the Vatican, beneath the soaring frescoes of the Sistine Chapel, a single doorway remains stubbornly off-limits. It's not marked by warning signs or barricades, just an unspoken rule that visitors quickly learn. This threshold isn't meant to be crossed. Officially, it's dismissed as a service entrance or storage closet, but whisper to the right guides and they'll tell you stories of a passage rumored to wind deep beneath the chapel, leading either to the Vatican's most guarded archives or to something far older. Look up at Michelangelo's ceiling, and you might notice something odd. Figures in the Last Judgment seem to gesture toward this very spot, their eyes angled just slightly too deliberate to be coincidence. Some art historians point to hidden symbols in the frescoes, a key tucked into a fold of fabric here, an oddly placed doorway in a biblical scene there. Could these be clues left by the artist himself, marking something concealed beneath the paint and plaster? Theories spiral from there. Medieval chronicles mention a network of tunnels linking the Vatican to Castel Sant'Angelo, built as escape routes for popes during sieges. Others speculate about lost relics, perhaps even early Christian texts deemed too controversial to reveal. But the most tantalizing hint comes from a 17th century diary, where a restorer wrote of hearing hollow echoes behind the chapel's walls, as if the very air were trapped in chambers unseen. Modern scans have done little to settle the debate. Ground-penetrating radar hints at voids behind the chapel's ornate walls, but without access, their purpose remains a riddle. The Vatican's silence only fans the flames why guard a mere storage room so fiercely. Whether it shields sacred secrets, forgotten history, or simply the allure of the unknown, this forbidden door reminds us that some mysteries aren't meant to be solved. Sometimes the power lies not in what's revealed, but in what stays tantalizingly out of reach. In the quiet town of Bijapur, India, the dome of Gol Gumbaz rises like a giant's upturned cup, deceptively simple from the outside, but hiding an acoustic marvel within. Step inside its whispering gallery, and the ordinary rules of sound no longer apply. A murmur uttered against one wall travels with eerie clarity to the opposite side, over 140 feet away, as if the very air conspires to carry secrets. This isn't just clever architecture, it's a phenomenon that defies expectations, even today. The precision behind this 17th century masterpiece is staggering. The dome's curvature, its smooth plastered walls, even the absence of obstructive pillars, every detail was calculated to amplify whispers into echoes that linger like ghosts. But here's what's truly fascinating. Some scholars argue this wasn't merely an engineering feat. The designers, they say, weren't just playing with sound, they were harnessing it. Ancient Indian texts describe sacred spaces where vibrations could elevate prayers, turning words into a bridge between earth and heaven. Could Gol Gumbaz be one such portal? Then there's the uncanny alignment. The gallery's acoustics peak at certain times of day when sunlight angles through narrow windows, casting patterns that mirror celestial diagrams. Coincidence or intentional harmony? Local lore speaks of Sufi mystics who once used the space for meditation, their chants resonating in perfect circles, as if the dome itself were tuning their voices to frequencies beyond human hearing. Modern acousticians still marvel at the structure. Without blueprints or advanced tools, how did its creators achieve such perfection? Some point to the Bhuvanakosha, an ancient treatise on architecture that details how sacred geometry could manipulate sound. Others suggest the builders observed natural echoes in caves or mountains, then replicated them on a grander scale. But perhaps the most haunting possibility is that Gol Gumbaz's whispers aren't just carrying voices, they're preserving them, a chorus of prayers suspended in time, waiting for someone to listen. The sunlight strikes the cliffs of Petra at dawn, painting the stone in fiery hues, but not every doorway here welcomes the day. Carved with impossible precision into sheer rock faces, some entrances in Jordan's lost city don't open into grand tombs or hidden chambers. They're illusions, meticulously crafted portals that dead end abruptly into solid stone. At first glance, you might dismiss them as unfinished work or architectural errors. But the Nabateans, the ingenious builders of Petra, didn't make mistakes, they left clues. These phantom doors tell a story deeper than mere deception. Walk the Sick, the narrow gorge leading into the city, and you'll notice something uncanny. Certain false doorways align perfectly with celestial events. During solstices, shafts of sunlight pierce through openings in the cliffs, illuminating these sealed thresholds as if marking them for unseen visitors. Could these have been symbolic passages guiding spirits during sacred times? Or perhaps they served as beacons, signaling to caravans navigating the desert under star-filled skies. Then there's the water. The Nabateans were masters of hydraulics, channeling scarce rainwater through intricate networks of pipes and cisterns. Some researchers believe these phantom doors hid access points to underground water systems, their true purpose disguised to protect the city's lifeline. Others argue the doors acted as spiritual filters, barriers meant to separate the mundane from the divine, allowing only the worthy to pass beyond the veil. One thing's certain, Petra's silent gates weren't built at random. The precision of their carvings, their alignment with both earthly and celestial rhythms, every detail whispers of intent. Whether practical safeguard, sacred symbol, or something stranger, these doorless portals challenge us to rethink the boundaries between the tangible and the unseen. In a city where even the rocks speak in riddles, the greatest treasures might not lie behind locked doors, but in the questions they leave hanging in the desert air. Beneath the roaring crowds and blood-soaked sands of Rome's Colosseum, an entirely different world waits in silence. While most visitors focus on the towering arches above, the real secrets lie below, in a shadowy labyrinth known as the Hypogeum. This sprawling network of tunnels and trapdoors was the stage behind the stage, where gladiators prepared for combat and wild animals were unleashed into the arena. But look closer, and the design reveals something impossible to ignore. Some passages don't just connect points A and B. They align with uncanny precision along ancient ley lines, those invisible energy channels said to crisscross the Earth. Why would engineers, already tasked with managing beasts and warriors, bother with such exacting celestial geometry? One theory points to the rituals of Rome's Vestal Virgins, who performed sacred ceremonies to secure divine favor before major events. Could these tunnels have doubled as conduits for their invocations, channeling energy to sway the outcomes of battles? Then there's the matter of the unmarked chambers, rooms too small for storage, yet bearing symbols associated with underworld deities like Petra. Gladiators facing near certain death might have sought solace or strength in these spaces, whispering prayers where no crowd could hear. Even the placement of certain ramps seems deliberate, mirroring constellations visible during the Colosseum's inaugural games. Modern archaeologists are still piecing together the puzzle. Recent scans reveal tunnels extending farther than mapped, some leading toward forgotten temples or blocked off entirely. Were these escape routes, sacred pathways, or something else entirely? Every inch of the Hypogeum hums with unanswered questions. Whether a masterpiece of logistics, a hidden ritual site, or both, one thing's certain: the Colosseum's greatest spectacles weren't just above ground, they were beneath our feet all along. The walls of Ghana's Elmina castle have seen centuries pass, their weathered stones holding stories no words can fully capture. But one doorway stands apart, not for its design or hidden mechanisms, but for the unbearable weight of history it carries. They called it the Door of No Return, a simple archway leading from the castle's dark dungeons to the shore where slave ships waited. Yet this was no ordinary threshold. For the thousands forced across it, this passage marked an unthinkable rupture between homeland and unknown horror, between freedom and chains. Unlike the mystical gates we've explored, there's no celestial alignment here, no secret symbols carved into the stone. The power of this doorway isn't in what it hides, but in what it forces us to remember. Step into the castle's oppressive holding cells, and you'll notice grooves worn into the floor, traces of countless feet pacing in desperation. The air still feels heavy, thick with the echoes of voices that cried out here centuries ago. What's chilling is the calculated cruelty of its design. The door of no return wasn't placed at random. Positioned facing the sea, it ensured captives couldn't glimpse their homeland one last time before boarding the ships. The architects knew exactly what they were doing. This wasn't just architecture. It was psychological warfare. Today, the door has taken on a new meaning. Descendants of those stolen from these shores now walk back through it in reverse, reclaiming a connection severed by history. Some leave flowers, others touch the walls as if trying to absorb the pain of ancestors they'll never know. It's a reminder that portals aren't always about the supernatural. Sometimes the most powerful thresholds are those that force us to confront the ghosts of our shared humanity. Elmina's door doesn't whisper riddles, it screams truths we must never forget. And in that way, it's as much a gateway as any we've seen, between past and present, between silence and reckoning. The real mystery isn't how such a place could exist, but how we choose to carry its legacy forward. Easter Island's towering Moai statues have long captivated the world, their stone eyes silently watching over the island's rolling hills. But beneath those iconic figures lies a secret most visitors never see: a maze of hidden doorways carved into the earth itself. These entrances, often overlooked in the shadow of the statues, lead to chambers that whisper of a deeper mystery. Local Rapa Nui oral traditions describe intricate tunnels snaking beneath the island's surface, linking sacred sites like veins beneath the skin. Some passages are wide enough for a person to walk through, while others narrow into crawl spaces, their walls smoothed by generations of hands. Archaeologists debate their purpose. Were they shelters during the island's turbulent conflicts, storage for precious resources, or something far more profound? The most compelling clues come from the few who have ventured inside. Certain chambers bear petroglyphs of ancestral figures, their forms etched alongside symbols resembling cosmic maps. Others feature unusual acoustics where chants echo in rhythmic patterns, as if mimicking the island's ancient ceremonies. Elders speak of these spaces as Ona Kionga, doorways where the living could commune with the spirits of their forebears. Yet the tunnels raise as many questions as they answer. How did the Rapa Nui people carve them without metal tools, navigating solid rock with such precision? And why do some abruptly end at walls marked with strange helical carvings? One theory suggests they served as initiation sites where young warriors or priests underwent transformative trials. Another points to legends of a hidden underworld, accessed only by those who knew the rituals. Perhaps the truth lies in the island's isolation, a culture with no escape but inward, turning the earth itself into a canvas for their beliefs. Whether practical refuge or spiritual gateway, these passages remind us that Easter Island's greatest secrets aren't just standing in the sun, they're waiting in the quiet dark below. Deep beneath Cappadocia's rocky landscape, where winding tunnels stretch like roots through the earth, lies one of history's most ingenious defenses: the colossal stone doors of Derinkuyu. These aren't just barricades, they're feats of engineering so precise they defy logic. Picture a wheel-shaped slab of volcanic rock, taller than a person and weighing as much as a car, yet balanced so perfectly that a single push sends it gliding into place, sealing off entire corridors in seconds. How did an ancient society without modern tools or machinery achieve such flawless functionality? Some researchers point to the volcanic tuff rock itself, lightweight yet durable, easy to carve but resistant to wear. The builders didn't just cut these doors, they mastered their center of gravity, crafting pivots and grooves that turned brute strength into effortless motion. It's the kind of precision you'd expect from a high-tech vault, not a 2,000-year-old refuge. But here's where it gets even stranger. These doors aren't just scattered randomly, they're strategically placed at choke points, suggesting an intricate understanding of defense tactics. Yet local legends hint at something deeper. The Hittites, who may have first carved these tunnels, spoke of stone that breathes, portals separating the world of humans from the realm of gods. Could these rolling gates have been more than physical barriers? Modern visitors describe an eerie stillness near the sealed passages, as if the air itself holds its breath. Geologists note subtle vibrations in the rock, possibly from underground water channels, an echo of old tales about singing stones that warned of approaching danger. Whether practical safeguard or sacred threshold, Derinkuyu's doors remind us that the line between myth and history is thinner than we think. One thing's certain: when you stand before these silent sentinels, you're not just looking at ancient engineering, you're witnessing a mystery carved in stone. High atop the steps of the Temple of Artemis, bathed in silver moonlight, a doorway stood waiting not for kings or warriors, but for the rarest celestial event to awaken its purpose. Of all the legends surrounding the 7 wonders of the ancient world, few are as hauntingly specific as this, a portal said to unlock only when the moon's glow vanished from the sky. Ancient accounts from Ephesus describe priestesses robed in white, gathering at the threshold as lunar eclipses cast the world into eerie darkness. They didn't just witness the event, they harnessed it, performing rituals to channel what they called Selenic energy, the moon's hidden force. Some texts even claim the door's marble frame resonated with a faint hum during these moments, as if reacting to the cosmos itself. Was this merely symbolic theater or something more? Modern researchers note intriguing details. The temple's alignment allowed moonlight to strike the doorway at precise angles throughout the year, suggesting the builders tracked celestial patterns with astonishing accuracy. Even more compelling are fragments of hymns recovered from the site, referencing gates that drink the shadow and paths opened by the darkened eye of night. But here's the twist: while archaeologists have mapped much of the temple's ruins, no physical mechanism for such a door has ever been found. Some argue it was purely metaphorical, a spiritual gateway activated by ritual rather than hinges. Others point to similar eclipse-linked traditions across cultures, from Mayan observatories to Tibetan sky burials, hinting at a universal fascination with these celestial turning points. Whether myth or lost technology, the moon door captures something timeless: humanity's longing to touch the cosmos, to find portals where the heavens and earth collide. It's a reminder that even in ruins, the Temple of Artemis still whispers not just of grandeur, but of mysteries written in moonlight. High in the mist-shrouded peaks of the Andes, Machu Picchu's stone doorways frame more than just breathtaking views, they mark precise alignments with the cosmos. Among these, one stands out: a perfectly carved portal that catches the first golden rays of the winter solstice sunrise, illuminating its threshold like a celestial spotlight. But take 3 steps beyond it and you'd plunge straight down a cliff. This isn't a mistake, it's a mystery carved in granite. The Incas didn't just build with stone, they wove their beliefs into every angle. At sites like the Temple of the Sun, doorways align so precisely with solar events that experts argue they functioned as both calendar and cathedral. But the so-called vanishing doorways add another layer: thresholds that literally lead nowhere in the physical world. Some scholars believe these were symbolic passages, representing the soul's journey into the spiritual realm after death. Others point to Inca astronomers who may have used these alignments to predict agricultural cycles or celestial events with razor-sharp accuracy. What's undeniable is the sophistication behind their placement. Even today, during solstices, sunlight pierces these openings with mathematical precision, casting shadows that trace hidden patterns across ceremonial stones. Local Quechua elders still speak of Pachacuti world-turning moments when such portals might open between realms. Whether spiritual metaphor or scientific tool, these doorways reflect a culture that saw no divide between earth and sky. The real wonder isn't just how the Incas engineered these alignments without modern tools, it's why they chose to place some where no human could follow. Were they reminders that not all journeys are meant for the living, or perhaps celestial signposts guiding something or someone beyond our understanding? In a city where every stone seems to whisper, these doorless thresholds ask us to reconsider where architecture ends and devotion begins. At the heart of Beijing's Forbidden City, where emperors once ruled behind vermilion walls, lie gates that don't just reflect light, they seem to bend it. These aren't ordinary entrances, their surfaces, polished to a mirror-like sheen, catch the sun in ways that defy simple explanation. Step closer and you'll notice something unsettling. Under certain angles, the reflections don't just show your face, they stretch and twist it, as if the very surface warps reality. Centuries ago, imperial architects designed these gates with a dual purpose. On one level, they dazzled visitors with displays of celestial power, scattering sunlight like liquid gold across courtyards. But dig deeper into Ming Dynasty texts and another theory emerges. Scholars describe these portals as Zhaoyaojing spirit mirrors crafted to repel unseen forces. The logic was chillingly simple. Malevolent spirits, upon seeing their own distorted reflections, would flee in terror, tricked into believing something far worse lurked beyond the gate. Modern architects have measured the angles and found something extraordinary. The curvature of these surfaces isn't random. By day, they scatter light in precise patterns, illuminating hidden symbols carved into nearby pillars only when the sun hits just right. By night, under torchlight, the same gates cast elongated shadows that align with astral constellations. Was this spiritual engineering or something closer to proto-science? The sheer precision suggests a fusion of both. Artisans didn't just grind these surfaces smooth, they calibrated them like optical instruments, manipulating perception through geometry. Some historians argue the mirrors doubled as discrete surveillance tools, allowing guards to observe movements across vast courtyards without being seen. Others point to Taoist texts describing mirrors as conduits between realms, where light itself could cleanse impurity. One thing's certain, standing before these gates, you're not just facing ancient craftsmanship, you're confronting a world view where architecture didn't just shelter bodies. It guarded souls, and perhaps that's the real secret hidden in the reflections. Not trapped spirits, but an empire's unshakable belief that even light could be bent to serve its will. In the heart of India's ancient city of Hampi, a stone whispers when touched, not a metaphor literally. The Vijayavattala temple stands as a testament to an architectural marvel that defies time, pillars that sing. Carved from solid granite, these columns don't just support the temple's majestic halls, they transform them into an instrument of the gods. Strike one gently, and it resonates with a clear, metallic note, as if the rock itself carries a hidden melody. The genius lies in the details. Each pillar is actually a cluster of smaller columns, meticulously tuned to produce distinct musical tones when struck. Some hum like deep bells, others chime with the brightness of a flute. Together they form a scale, an entire orchestra frozen in stone. But here's the puzzle. How did 16th century artisans without modern acoustical tools achieve such precision? Local lore offers a clue. Texts speak of raga stones, specially selected rocks believed to vibrate in harmony with cosmic frequencies. Priests supposedly used these pillars in rituals, their sounds guiding worshippers into meditative states or even acting as sonic keys to unlock higher consciousness. Recent studies reveal something astonishing. The temple's layout amplifies these vibrations, with corridors designed to funnel echoes into a single, immersive wave of sound. Yet the most intriguing theory connects these halls to Hampi's lost trade routes. Merchants from as far as Persia and Portugal described singing temples where sound traveled impossibly far, possibly used as a communication system across the city. Could these pillars have been part of something larger, an ancient network of sonic beacons, turning architecture into a living, resonant map? Standing in those echoing halls, you realize this wasn't just craftsmanship. It was alchemy transforming stone into song, architecture into prayer. The real mystery isn't how they made the pillars sink, but what they hoped the music would awaken in those who listened. Beneath the turquoise waves off Japan's Yonaguni Island, the ocean floor hides a riddle carved in stone. Towering terraces, sharp-angled platforms, and what appear to be staircases ascend from the depth, structures so geometric, they almost seem to dare the sea itself to call them natural. This is the Yonaguni Monument, a sprawling underwater enigma that has split experts for decades. Are we looking at the handiwork of ancient architects, or simply nature's uncanny talent for mimicry? Divers first stumbled upon these formations in the 1980s, and the debate ignited instantly. Marine geologists point to the region's active tectonic shifts, suggesting the sandstone could have fractured into these seemingly perfect steps over millennia. But then there are the details, the twin megaliths resembling towering gateways, the precise right angles that appear too deliberate to dismiss. One particular structure, nicknamed the Turtle for its distinct shape, even features what looks like a carved altar or ceremonial platform. If this was nature's work alone, it's a staggering coincidence. Proponents of the man-made theory point to tool marks, straight grooves and channels that mirror those found in known ancient quarries. Even more compelling are local legends of a sunken city, whispered for generations among Okinawan fishermen. Stories speak of a kingdom called Mu, or Lemuria, swallowed by the sea in a cataclysmic event. Could Yonaguni be its last remnant? The truth may lie in the monument's alignment. Some sections mirror sacred sites like Okinawa's Sefa Utaki, a UNESCO-listed spiritual grotto with eerily similar stair-step formations. During certain tidal shifts, sunlight penetrates the water at just the right angle to illuminate these underwater pathways, as if lighting a route for some long-forgotten ritual. Whether carved by human hands or shaped by the ocean's patience, Yonaguni challenges our assumptions. It forces us to ask, if this is a drowned civilization's sacred threshold, what other portals might still be waiting in the dark, their secrets preserved by the very waters that hide them? Beneath the towering spires of Chartres Cathedral, where sunlight filters through centuries-old stained glass, another marvel waits beneath the feet of visitors, a labyrinth so precise, it seems to hum with hidden purpose. Winding across the stone floor, this intricate 11-circuit pattern isn't just decoration. It's a silent invitation to walk, to meditate, to lose yourself in its coils like a pilgrim searching for answers. While most cathedrals of its era focused solely on upward grandeur, Chartres dared to look down, embedding a mystery in its very foundations. Scholars still debate its origins. Some argue it was a symbolic substitute for the Camino de Santiago, allowing those who couldn't undertake the arduous pilgrimage to experience a spiritual journey in miniature. Others point to its uncanny resemblance to ancient Cretan labyrinths, designs once thought to trap malevolent forces. But what's undeniable is the effect it has on those who tread its path. Visitors describe a strange shift in perception as they navigate the turns, as if the act of walking stirs something dormant in the mind. Could it be the cathedral's famed alignment with ley lines, those invisible energy currents said to crisscross the earth? Or perhaps the architects tapped into something even deeper, a universal human response to sacred geometry? Modern dowsers and scientists alike have mapped the site, noting anomalies in electromagnetic fields near the labyrinth's center. Meanwhile, medieval manuscripts hint at rituals where priests would chant psalms while tracing the pattern, their voices resonating through the nave in haunting harmonies. The cathedral's stained glass, with its alchemical symbolism, only deepens the enigma. Panels depicting celestial bodies seem to align with key points in the labyrinth, as if light and stone were meant to converse. Whether a tool for transcendence or a masterpiece of medieval engineering, Chartres' labyrinth refuses to be pinned down. It doesn't just guide footsteps, it questions them. And in that quiet dialogue between stone and soul, we're reminded that some portals aren't meant to be seen, they're meant to be felt, one deliberate step at a time. Carved into the volcanic rock of Ethiopia's highlands, the churches of Lalibela rise not as buildings constructed, but as spaces revealed, unearthed from the living earth itself. Among these sacred halls, the doorways hold a peculiar power. Pilgrims cross their thresholds in absolute silence, as if the very act of speaking might fracture the sanctity within. These aren't mere entrances, precision cut without metal tools. Their edges align so perfectly that even now, centuries later, not a sliver of daylight slips between the jambs. Some archways frame specific celestial events during equinoxes. Sunlight pierces through to illuminate inner altars with theatrical timing. Others narrow deliberately, forcing visitors to bow as they enter, a physical reminder of humility before the divine. Local tradition speaks of these gates as Barena Menged, or paths of the spirit. The silence maintained while passing through isn't just reverence, it's participation in an ancient ritual. Some priests whisper that the acoustics of the tunnels amplify unspoken prayers, carrying them directly heavenward. Modern studies reveal something fascinating: certain doorways funnel sound in ways that dampen noise from outside while amplifying whispers from within, as if the stone itself were designed to filter the profane from the sacred. Yet the greatest marvel lies in the mystery of their creation. How did medieval artisans, working only with chisels and intuition, achieve such mathematical precision? One theory points to the church's possible connection to the Ark of the Covenant's legendary resting place, suggesting these passageways were modeled after lost sacred blueprints. Another highlights the region's tradition of Wakade dreams believed to impart divine architectural knowledge. Whether celestial compass, spiritual amplifier, or both, Lalibela's silent gates remind us that portals aren't always about spectacle. Sometimes the most profound thresholds are those that invite us to listen not to echoes of the past, but to the quiet within ourselves. Gliding through Venice's labyrinthine canals, gondolas pass unmarked archways half submerged in the murky water, doorways that don't quite belong. Unlike the city's grand palaces with their ornate entrances, these thresholds hide in plain sight, their purpose whispered about in old merchant diaries. For centuries, Venice's elite used these covert water gates to slip unseen into private libraries, clandestine meeting halls, or even hidden gambling dens forbidden by the Republic's strict laws. The genius of these portals lies in their deception. At high tide, many vanish completely beneath the waves, leaving no trace of the passages behind them. Others disguise themselves as crumbling ruins, their true function masked by algae-stained bricks. But peer closer, and you'll notice the precision-cut stone frames, the grooves where silent gondolas once moored, the rusted hinges hinting at mechanisms now lost to time. These weren't just architectural quirks, they were tools of control, designed to shield the powerful from prying eyes. One of the most intriguing lies near the Palazzo Contarini del Bovolo. Its submerged entrance, now sealed, once led to a vaulted chamber where nobles debated politics away from the public square. Another, tucked beside a nondescript canal near San Marco, reportedly opened into a secret archive of censored texts, accessible only to those who knew the exact water level required to float inside. What's striking is how these gates reflect Venice's dual nature, a city of dazzling light and fathomless shadow. The same architects who designed soaring basilicas also mastered the art of concealment, weaving secrecy into the very fabric of the canals. Unlike the mystical portals we've explored, these water gates served a ruthlessly practical purpose: to protect privilege. Yet in their silent, liquid elegance, they remind us that the most powerful thresholds aren't always grand or guarded. Sometimes the ones that change history are the ones no one even notices are there. As the sun dips toward the horizon on the spring equinox, something extraordinary happens at Chichen Itza. The pyramid known as El Castillo, a towering testament to Mayan ingenuity, begins to stir. Shadows slither down its limestone steps, not randomly, but with calculated precision, forming the undulating body of a great serpent. This isn't just a trick of the light, it's a masterpiece of celestial engineering. The Mayans didn't just observe the sky, they wove it into their very buildings. Each of El Castillo's 4 sides has 91 steps, totaling 364 when combined with the shared platform at the top. Add that one final step to enter the temple, and you've got a full solar year etched in stone. But the true marvel is how they align the pyramid so precisely that twice a year the setting sun paints this serpentine shadow, connecting the temple's carved serpent head at the base to its glowing tail above. Some scholars believe this was more than a calendar. The descending serpent, linked to the feathered serpent god Kukulkan, symbolized a momentary bridge between worlds. For those standing in the plaza below, witnessing the shadows crawl, it might have felt like watching the divine slither down to walk among them. Yet the pyramid holds another secret. Clap your hands at its base and the sound ricochets off the steps in a chirping echo, an uncanny replica of the Quetzal bird, a sacred creature in Mayan cosmology. Was this an intentional acoustic trick, blending sight and sound into ritual, or perhaps a way to mimic the voice of the gods themselves? Between the precision of its alignments and the resonance of its stones, El Castillo doesn't just mark time, it embodies it. In a world without telescopes or computers, the Mayans turned stone into a celestial clock, their pyramids not just monuments but portals where earth and sky briefly touched. And every equinox, for a fleeting moment, that doorway still opens. At the heart of Australia's vast red desert, Uluru rises like a living monument, its weathered surface etched with grooves and crevices that seem to pulse with ancient energy. To the Anangu people, these aren't just rock formations, they're Tijukurpa, sacred doorways woven into the very fabric of the Dreamtime. Unlike the grand arches and hidden chambers we've explored, these portals weren't built by human hands. They were born from the land itself, carved by ancestral spirits whose stories still echo in the wind. Step closer to one of these fissures, and you'll notice something remarkable: the way sunlight dances across the stone at dawn, painting pathways only visible for fleeting moments. According to tradition, these luminous trails mark the routes taken by creator beings as they shape the world. Some caves serve as initiation sites, where elders guide the young through rituals that bridge the physical and spiritual realms. Others are living libraries, their walls adorned with rock art that isn't just decoration but a map of cosmic lore. Modern researchers have documented something extraordinary here: acoustic properties that amplify whispers into resonant echoes, as if the rock itself participates in storytelling. Elders speak of ceremonies where the boundary between past and present softens, allowing participants to commune with ancestors through song and vibration. The science behind it is just as fascinating. Uluru's unique mineral composition interacts with sound waves in ways that defy conventional explanation. What's humbling is how these thresholds endure. While castles crumble and temples fade, Uluru's Dreamtime doorways remain untouched by time, their power undiminished. They remind us that the most profound portals aren't always the ones we engineer. Sometimes they're the ones the earth reveals when we're ready to listen. In a world obsessed with unlocking secrets, perhaps the real key is knowing which doors were never meant to be opened, only honored. In the hushed corridors of the Winchester Mystery House, a staircase rises boldly toward the ceiling only to stop abruptly, its steps dissolving into plaster and empty air. This isn't a construction error. It's a deliberate riddle in wood and nails, one of many scattered through this sprawling California mansion like breadcrumbs meant to lead somewhere or perhaps to nowhere at all. Built by rifle heiress Sarah Winchester in the late 19th century, this labyrinthine home defies logic at every turn. Doors open onto solid walls. Hallways twist back on themselves, and then there are the staircases, dozens of them, climbing to ceilings or terminating mid-air like unfinished thoughts. For over a century, whispers have swirled that Sarah designed these baffling features to confound vengeful spirits, those said to haunt her after the deaths linked to the Winchester rifle's legacy. Whether she truly believed ghosts stalked her halls or was grappling with grief in her own way, one thing's undeniable. Her home became a physical manifestation of humanity's age-old dance with the unseen. Modern architects who have studied the house note something peculiar. Many of these phantom staircases align with seismic fault lines beneath the property. Coincidence, or did Sarah, known to consult spiritualists and astrologers, intentionally build disruptions into the structure, creating a kind of architectural exorcism? The mansion's sheer scale adds to the enigma. 160 rooms constructed over 38 years, a project that never truly ended until Sarah's death. What makes Winchester House so compelling isn't just its eerie design, it's how it bridges ancient and modern anxieties. From Neolithic burial chambers to Gothic cathedrals, cultures have long used architecture to navigate the boundary between seen and unseen. Sarah's staircases might lack the celestial alignments of Mayan pyramids or the sacred geometry of Indian temples, but they pulse with the same human impulse to build doors, even impossible ones, where the mind fears to tread. Standing at the base of one of these truncated stairways, you're left with an unsettling question. Were they meant to keep spirits out or to give them a path upward, away from the living? In a house where nothing is quite as it seems, perhaps the real mystery isn't where the stairs lead, but why we keep building them at all. Beneath the silent shadow of Mount Vesuvius, Pompeii's doorways stand frozen in time, not just as entrances, but as silent witnesses to a single catastrophic moment. Unlike grand temple gates or hidden passageways, these thresholds were meant for ordinary lives. Bakers stepping into sunlit courtyards, merchants rolling up wooden shutters at dawn, families gathering around hearths. Yet when the ash fell, it preserved these everyday portals with heartbreaking intimacy, turning the mundane into something sacred. What's striking isn't just their preservation, but what they reveal about how people move between worlds, both practical and spiritual. Take the House of the Vetii, where a modest doorway near the kitchen opens unexpectedly into a lush lararium, a shrine to household gods. The paint still glows with vibrant reds and yellows, as if the prayers whispered their linger in the pigment. Nearby, another home hides a secluded garden behind an unassuming arch, its walls adorned with erotic frescoes, a private escape masked by public propriety. These weren't just buildings, they were carefully crafted layers of visibility and secrecy. Then there's the Villa of the Mysteries, its famed initiation chamber tucked behind a corridor so narrow, visitors had to turn sideways to enter. Was this a practical choice or a ritual necessity forcing initiates to shed pride before crossing into the sacred? The paintings here offer clues, vivid scenes of ritual ecstasy, where figures reach toward veiled doorways within the artwork itself, as if the artists were hinting at thresholds within thresholds. Pompeii's genius lies in its ordinariness. These aren't monuments to kings or gods, but to the human rhythm of coming and going, a child's height scratched into a doorframe. A groove worn into stone by centuries of hands pushing it open. Even the grooves where bolts once slid shut final acts of privacy before the sky darkened. In their stillness, these portals remind us that catastrophe doesn't erase stories, it crystallizes them. And sometimes the most powerful mysteries aren't hidden in secret chambers, but in the quiet spaces where life simply happened. High in the sun-drenched hills of Granada, the Alhambra's vaulted ceilings shimmer like frozen honey, but lean closer, and their geometric perfection reveals something far deeper. These aren't just decorations, they're cosmic blueprints in plaster and stucco. Known as muqarnas, these intricate, honeycomb-like structures cascade downward in fractal patterns, creating an illusion that the ceiling isn't solid at all, but a portal into endless space. Islamic scholars of the 14th century saw the universe as infinite, a divine tapestry woven from mathematics and light. The Alhambra's architects translated that vision into stone, crafting ceilings that seemed to dissolve into higher dimensions. Stand beneath them and your gaze gets lost in repeating patterns, stars within stars, arches folding into arches, as if the very laws of perspective have been rewritten. Some designs even mirror constellations visible from Andalusia during the palace's zenith, blurring the line between earthly artistry and celestial order. What's haunting is how these muqarnas play with perception. Sunlight filtering through lattice windows casts shifting shadows, making the patterns appear to breathe. Poets of the Nasrid dynasty described them as solid clouds, frozen midway between heaven and earth. Modern mathematicians have parsed their geometries, finding complex algorithms that predate European fractals by centuries. Yet for all their precision, these vaults retain an air of mystery, like encrypted messages meant to be felt more than solved. Perhaps that's the true genius of the Alhambra's veiled portals. They don't just symbolize infinity, they invoke it. In a world bound by walls and time, these ceilings whisper of something beyond, a reminder that the most profound gateways aren't always ones you walk through, but ones you simply stand beneath and wonder. There's something primal about a hidden doorway, the sudden rush of discovery when a bookshelf swings open, revealing a passage where none seem to exist. This isn't just clever craftsmanship, it's a whisper from history, a testament to humanity's eternal dance between concealment and revelation. From the cloak and dagger politics of medieval castles to the sacred thresholds of Egyptian tombs, secret passages have always been more than physical shortcuts, they're metaphors for the spaces we carve between the seen and unseen. Take Japan's Nijiriguchi, the tiny tea ceremony entrances designed to humble even the mightiest samurai. Crawling through that narrow portal wasn't just practical, it was a ritual stripping of status, forcing warriors to leave their swords and pride outside. Contrast this with Tudor England's priest holes, where Catholic clergy hid from persecution behind false walls, their survival depending on architectural sleight of hand. Two cultures, two purposes, yet both understood. A doorway could be as powerful as the room it concealed. Modern architects still harness this allure. Think of Frank Lloyd Wright's concealed first-floor entrances, deliberately downplayed to amplify the grandeur of interior spaces, or the vanishing doors in luxury penthouses today, blending seamlessly into walnut panels until a discreet touch sends them gliding open. The psychology is timeless. Hidden thresholds create intimacy, exclusivity, the thrill of being let in on a secret. Perhaps that's why these passages haunt our stories, from Harry Potter's platform 9 3/4 to the wardrobe into Narnia. They tap into a universal truth: beyond the ordinary lies the extraordinary, if only we know where to press. Whether stone or mahogany, ancient or brand new, hidden doors remind us that walls are never just walls, they're canvases for possibility, waiting for the right hand to brush against them and reveal what's been there all along. As our journey through these ancient thresholds comes to an end, one thing becomes beautifully clear: these hidden doorways and mystical portals were never just about architecture. They were mirrors reflecting humanity's deepest yearnings, to touch the divine, to chart the cosmos, and to bridge the gap between the known and the unimaginable. Think about it, a Mayan priest watching the serpent shadow slither down El Castillo's steps wasn't merely observing a calendar. He stood at the intersection of time and eternity. A medieval stonemason carving Derinkuyu's rolling doors wasn't just building defenses, he was safeguarding sacred space. Even Sarah Winchester's staircases to nowhere whisper a universal truth. We've always built portals, real or symbolic, to confront what lies beyond our understanding. What's remarkable is how these themes transcend time and culture. The same drive that led the Inca to align doorways with solstice sunrises now fuels our search for wormholes and quantum gateways. The human story, it seems, is written in thresholds, each generation reimagining the doorways of its age. So the next time you pass an old archway or a strangely placed corridor, pause for a moment. Run your fingers along the stone. You might not find a hidden chamber or celestial map, but you'll connect with something just as profound, the enduring human impulse to reach, to explore, to wonder. If these ancient walls could talk, they'd ask us one question: what doorways will we build next? Drop your thoughts below and keep looking for those cracks in reality where the light gets in. Until our next adventure, stay curious.